Good morning. Day 27, March 16th, 8:30. We are leaving Hot Springs this morning. The Laughing Heart Hostel is about halfway up that hill right there, and the AT comes right down through town along this sidewalk. We just had breakfast at the Smoky Mountain Diner. Had a bacon and cheese omelet with some hash browns. And it was really good. Staying at the Laughing Heart Hostel was great. It's clean. They provide you your linens. You have your choice of the bunkhouse or single accommodations, which I took the single room, was $35. After my experience with snoring in the bunkhouse at Standing Bear, I'm going to take, if I can get a single accommodation for $50 more a night, that's a deal. And I didn't. It was quiet after 9 o'clock both nights. Of course, last night it was just Ringo and I and the Joker, one other person that was in there. But they also give you, they have like a closet in the back, and you can, they have clothes that you can wear into town while you're doing your laundry. And you know, you're not making a fashion statement, but this provides another convenience for you. These little AT markers are all through town, or the sidewalk where the AT goes. It was pretty cool. Before I get off the subject of Laughing Heart Hostel, discovered something pretty interesting that I didn't realize before I got here. But I carry with me some old trail maps that come out of the old AT guides. They're like 30 years old. You know, before the internet and gut hooks and AWOL guide, you had to use the AT guides. You can still buy them from the ATC. But basically they were a set of maps and a book that had descriptions about the trail, and as you walked along the trail you read the descriptions to figure out where you were. It wasn't as easy as just having a GPS on an app on a smartphone. But anyway, I carry the old maps with me because I like looking at the trail profiles, because it's not as exaggerated as gut hooks or even AWOL. And I was looking at one of the old maps, and it said Jesuit Hostel. And it dawned on me that I had stayed there before, because back in 82 or 83, Boy Scout Troop 556, Mount Airy, North Carolina, sponsored by the National Guard Armory right there on Highway 52, we did a 50-miler, and we did the Asbury Trail, which starts at Lake Junaluska and comes over here toward Great Smoky Mountains Park. And we joined up with the AT and came into Hot Springs. And I remember we stayed in Hot Springs when we came in that night. But 30 years ago, I had no recollection of where the place was. Very vague memories of the place. But when I saw that Jesuit hostel, I realized that was the place. And I'd actually stayed there before. So I was talking about the trip with some of my old scouting buddies on Facebook. And a lot of them had memories that I had forgotten, so it was pretty cool. But they also brought up the debt of gratitude that we owe to all the adults that took us on all those trips. And there was a Scoutmaster, Jimmy B. I don't want to say your names on YouTube. You might not like that. And there was There's Raymond E. and his wife Mildred. And Mr. and Mrs. W. who would always drive us. They spent their time and their gas to bring a group of young boys up here to the mountains and learn how to backpack. And really enriched our lives. So if you're listening, thank you for that. Well, this is where the hot springs are. So today the plan is to do at least 11 to the next shelter, which I forgot the name of the shelter already. You know, when I watch YouTube videos, I used to get frustrated with people because they wouldn't say what day it was, what day of the week it was, or where they were, or names of shelters and mountains. But now that I'm out here, it's hard to keep up with all that stuff because it's not as important as you think it is. So, but I will film later on, tell you where we are. But with it being 8:30 and us getting this early start, I have a feeling we're going to go past the first shelter. So that's going to be it for this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Till next segment, reboot, heading north. This is Lover's Leap. And that is looking down on Hot Springs and the French Broad River. I've been seeing several of these trees through here. I believe these are shagbark hickories, which I've seen these in my part of North Carolina, but the bark doesn't shag off as much as it does here. Just thought those are pretty neat looking. It's 5 after 6. Just want to do a wrap up for day 27. We did 15.7 miles today. We are currently a little over a half mile past Allen Gap. You might can hear the cars in the background. And that's the AT right over there. And there's where Ringo's set up. So we got a little stealth site here. We stopped and got water down at Allen Gap and humped it up here. So we got enough for dinner tonight, and to get us started tomorrow. It's 4.2 to the next shelter. So getting ready to do dinner, and we'll hit the sack and do it again tomorrow. So the weather was just outstanding today. Probably the best weather day we've had since Springer. So we're both really happy about that. And we not many views on this section of the trail once you got away from Hot Springs. But still, we'll take the weather, and with that, it's all good in the woods. And I was looking at one of the old maps, and it said Jesuit. Rush hour here in Hot Springs. It said Jesuit. Why can I say that? Jesuit Hostel. Jesuit. All right, I'm gonna I should have rotated his tires.